Hi, hello. It's me, your Benna, with another Moonday reading and some announcements. It's Libra Mercury Retrograde has stationed. We, for the next 3 weeks, are gonna have some slowdowns. We are going to maybe experience some technological difficulties, like I'm coming to you today a minute late. Uh, but things may be more drastic and extreme than that. Maybe you are a half hour late because of traffic, who knows. Maybe some more accidents during this time. People are not paying attention and are trying to rush in this time of slowdown. You may misplace your keys. Your phone may not work right. It depends. But this time is actually really going to be focused on relationships. So relationships of all kinds with yourself, clearly with like technology, communication is, of course, Mercury is the planet that kind of deals with communication, is the Roman god of communication. That is what the planet is named after. The Greek counterpart being Hermes. So if you're more familiar with Hermes, then, I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Messenger god. But yeah, so Libra definitely being about relationships. Like I said, relationships with yourself, technology, other people, all kinds of people, relationships. So whatever kinds of relationships you need to be working on, that will be what you will be kind of reviewing over the next 3 weeks. So I hope that you know where Libra is in your chart, and if you don't, please message me and we can take a look and get you all situated. I do chart readings. It's really fun. It's great sometimes. Actually, it's great all the time, because who doesn't like to know more about themselves? Right? It's really fun to know more about yourself. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with our Moonday reading, because that's how we know more about ourselves aside from looking at our charts. And it's really important to look at your chart and find new things all the time, because that's what happens to me. Yay. Anyway, okay, Moonday, let's go. Reading, let's go. What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? What do we need to know? You and me. Lux Navita babies. What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? Alright. One more time here. What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? What do we need to know? Alright. What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? First card we pull is Jupiter Abundance. Okay, cool. Who doesn't like that? I like that. Okay. What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? Second card is Earth Element Stability. Okay. Being more abundant in our routines. Increasing our routines, increasing on our routines, evaluating our routines. Let's find out. Third card, let's go. What do we need to know for this Moonday reading? Third card is Part of Fortune, increase. All right, sorry. I thought that was saying Pluto, and I was like, well, that's on key. We're just always the transformations. Anyway. All right, so Jupiter, abundance, Earth element, stability, part of fortune, increase. So part of fortune is actually a placement in your chart if it is near any kind of really prominent, or if it's near any aspect or placement that is kind of heavy in your chart, or not really, if it's close to a placement, that's the point. If this is close to a placement in your chart, if there's a planet or a celestial body or whatever, if this is close to something, that just gives that like an oomph in power, like if the sun is close to something, if Jupiter is close to something, Jupiter is close to something, if Jupiter is close to something, that kind of gives that a little bit more of a stage, gives it a little bit more of some more dialogue time, some more screen time, if that makes sense. Like when I do chart readings for people, and they are like, I don't understand the house systems. This is how I explain it to them. You know, and how everything kind of flows together. It is, the houses are like the stage. It has a specific stage for each of the actors that the planets, the celestial bodies, get to kind of dress up in, you know? And the way that I would kind of explain that a little bit better is like with Venus. You know, if Venus is in your 7th house, that's really nice. She really likes being there, and she's gonna dress up in a lot of beautiful things. She's going to be romantic. She's going to have these ideas and this attraction to relationships and being in relationships and wanting relationships with things. And if, say, Libra is the sign that is for your 7th house, like say you have Aries rising, like I have Aries rising. Hi, hello. Say I had my Venus in the 7th house, then my Venus would definitely be like, yes, I really would like to have relationships and be about relationships. Hi, welcome, eggs. I'm so glad you're here. We're talking about relationships. Yes, and how it's really fun and great. So, would you like a kiss? Yes? Okay, thank you. All right. Satiated. That's all you need to do. Just give him a kiss. Okay. So, like I was saying, if I had my Venus in the 7th house, which I don't, I have it in the 6th. So, that makes sense that Eggs just came over here and was like, please give me a kiss, because my Venus is very attracted to animals and wants to be around animals and likes the idea of puppy dogs as our best friends. And like when I was a kid, like How Much Is That Puppy in the Window was one of my favorite songs. I pulled the tape out of my 101 Dalmatians VHS because I wanted to see the puppies. So if that doesn't make sense about where your Venus is and how they play dress up effectively, and then, you know, the house is the stage, it's the costumes, it's the makeup, it's the whole set design of all of that. It's everything that kind of gives the actor the shape and look that it has. And then the aspects, you know, those lines between the planets that kind of dizzy up a chart. I'm so sorry I don't have a chart on hand to show you right now, because I wasn't expecting to kind of explain this a little bit more right now. It's fine. We're just rolling with it, right? Because it's Libra Mercury Retrograde, and we just kind of go with what we have. So those lines between the planets, that is all about the dialogue, right? It's the communication. It is the conversation. It is how they interact with one another. You know, oppositions being like, I win one and then you win one, and then I win one and then you win one. And how squares are like, hey, let's collaborate on how we're not going to go crazy. We're just not going to go overboard. We can't go over, all right? This is just, we just need to make sure that we don't have too much, right? Just the square, right? Whereas like trines are like, oh my goodness, aren't you just like the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen, and I just want to make sure that everything that we do together is the greatest. And sextiles are just like, hey buddy, I'm rooting for you. It's good. We're good. You know, that's the kind of dialogue that kind of exists, and that's how I explain the aspects too, you know. They're not really something to be terribly scary or scared by. I mean, squares can definitely be intimidating if you have a lot of them in your chart. And what I would say to you, because I have a square and it's aspecting my whole Virgo stellium, which is 4 planets in the house of Virgo, so there's a lot there, and my square pretty much affects all of it. And it's basically just like, hey, let's just figure out how to not be too much and not do too much. You know, the Aries rising, we can be cool. We can have a fun time, and we can be loud and wild, but at the same time, the amount of restraint that is sometimes needed to get things done, right? So I think that these cards today are actually talking about, let's get back to our reading, right? Not our impromptu teaching lesson. I love eggs so much, don't you? So, Jupiter and part of fortune kind of being a similar theme, a similar element of we are increasing, expanding, we are moving on up and out, kind of that whole going this, yeah. So that with the earth element stability, if you struggle with routines, if you struggle with being able to stay on task, if you struggle with pretty much just getting the earthy part of your life done, that stability, that money, your basic needs, that Taurus second house stuff, eating on a regular basis, bathing on a regular basis, just the human things that get you going in life and keep you going in life. That's kind of maybe what we're evaluating. Maybe we're looking at how to reshape our routines and make them better, function better for us, get us on more of a track with what we want to be in alignment with. Say, like for myself personally, I know I want to have better eating habits. I've pretty much just been like, yeah, I know I got Aries placements, but that doesn't mean that alcohol needs to really have any place in my life. I have a lot of attachments to sugar, and working on that has been really kind of difficult and fun and hard, and so very interesting. So, just basic eating habits maybe could be something, the routines that you're working on, your relationship routines, the things that you need in your relationships. If we bring it back to this being the first day that Mercury has stationed retrograde in the sign of Libra, maybe what you need in relationships is becoming more abundantly clear to you. What you need to be able to be stable in any kind of partnership, not just like a relationship as like I have a relationship with eggs, but like, specifically romantic partnerships. If you have been questioning some of that stuff or wondering what you need to be evaluating or thinking about, or maybe you haven't been feeling like your needs have been met in your relationship. So understanding what you need to increase or what needs to increase or change in that sense to be able to get your needs met in your relationships. I think that's a really important thing for the next 3 weeks, definitely with this being Moonday in the house of, the day of feelings, it being the first day of that, like I said, that Mercury retrograde. So this makes a lot of sense, and I hope that today has been enlightening in the least. I know I kind of talked a little bit, but I hope that the information, kind of explaining the house systems the way that I did, it helps a little bit more. The way you look at a chart and understand it, and I will try to have a paper chart on hand more often so that we can use that for reference in case we need to. So thank you so much for joining me today for this Moonday reading. I want to make a quick announcement for later in this week. I will be doing what is called Lenormand readings now on Thursdays. So Lenormand is actually another kind of cartomancy. It has its history in Europe. It actually will stay to 3 card readings because it's pretty much how you read the cards. I did a little bit of a teaser live of that this past weekend, so if you want to check out more about Lenormand, please check out my previous live video, kind of go over them a little bit. This is my homemade deck. And one of the things that I forgot to say in that live is that there are no reversals in Lenormand. So that is one thing that I really, really appreciate, because that's one of the things that I appreciate about working with my Oracle deck, is that sometimes reversals can get confusing to me, and I really like when things are more direct, hence Lenormand. So if you want to check in on Thursday, I'll be live at 1:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for your Lenormand reading for the rest of your week. All right? Thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you hopefully on Thursday, and if not, I'll see you next Moonday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, bye-bye. Bye.